Right, so we're bagging up here today, Muncall Fisheries on Kingfisher Lake. And we've got an F1 that we've caught Shalla. Terrible bit of netting, but we've got it this time. And the float that we've got on is appropriately named the F1 Shalla, which one of your original floats again,
Yeah,
wasn't
one of
it, Rich?
the original ones. One of the first ones with a bristle on for shallow.
Yeah. So you're saying, you know, back in the day when you started making the floats, most of the floats that were out there were
dibber
style floats. And then obviously these are a bit different. They're a little diamond shaped pattern. You see a lot of this sort of thing nowadays, but it's all sort of stemmed from these that you've made. Yeah. And there's just a brilliant little pattern for, I'd say, when you're fishing a little bit deeper, shallow. So
yeah, up to 18 inches, 2 foot tops.
Yeah. So
somewhere around there.
Yeah, so when you're fishing, you know, anything over a foot deep, I think a dibber's a little bit too short. It's a little bit too clunky. You want a little bit of a longer float, something that settles through the water a little bit slower. And that's where them F1 shallows are absolutely spot on. Now, it's got a little diamond pattern to it. Again, that's just for sort of stability, isn't it, when it's set in the water? Obviously, when you're shallow fishing, you want that to sit nice and stable. Also, it sets really quick, so when you're lifting and dropping it sets back in the same position really nice. It's got that carbon stem. Again, what sort of size carbon's on that, Rich?
That's 0.8 carbon, that one. Straight through again, the body and into the tip.
Just for strength, durability, when you're catching a lot
strength,
yeah. And then little tip, 1.5mm tip, nice and sensitive, fishing for F1s, I think's really important. And it just takes 3 number 10 shot, maybe 4 number 10 stops if you want to use a bulk, but I tend to use 3 number 10 Balabini shots, sort of spaced out through the rig like that. I might have them in the bottom half of the rig if I'm fishing at 2 foot. Today I'm fishing about 15, 16 inches.
Yeah,
so
if that.
Yeah, so I'm just spacing it out. A little short up length. Just got an 18 hook on today, fishing double maggot. Absolutely spot on. So yeah, these floats, like we touched on there, just perfect for fishing anything over a foot up to maybe sort of like 2 foot deep, fishing shallow.
And they do come with a 2mm tip as well.
Yeah, you can also get them in a 2mm tip if you want to use pellets and you know, maybe catching a bit of wormhead, something like that, over caster, or if you're fishing across where you can't really see it.
Yeah, hard to see.
Yeah, so spot on. So, like I say, all we've been doing today, we're here again, like I say, at Muncall. Just been loose feeding maggots. You know, it's not just for maggots. This float, like I say, it's good for maggots, casters, 4mm pellets, anything like that. But obviously, coming into winter now, and there's still quite a few fish feeding up shallow, but maggot seems to be best at this time of the year. I'm just going to put double white on, which I think is my favourite upbait when I'm maggot shallow fishing, double white. And one thing you'll see about this, there is a lot of fish there, so hopefully it won't be settled for long. You'll see how nicely they settle into the water when you flick them in. So a lot of the time, what I tend to do is just lay it over and just let it settle through. And you'll see that was, got a little fish there.
One of your bigger stamp.
One of the bigger ones that we catch. That's not an F1 that time. But, you know, you're obviously going to get a few of them when you're fishing with maggots. Little roach, but just pop him back. Change the upbait again. But yeah, you'll see how nicely the float settles. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just show you, just in the edge. I'll just lay the float in. And you'll just see how nicely it just follows your shot through the water and sits there just with a little bit of the bristle showing every time. Can you believe that? I'm going too far, aren't I, Rich?
Yeah. What are you fishing over there for?
But hopefully that was a good example of how, you know, the float settles up through the water, and probably a good example of how many fish are in Muncall fishery, to be honest. But yeah, that's what this float's all about. Just
That's
fishing.
a stamper closer.
Definitely, the bigger fish are definitely close. That's a carp as well. Would you believe that?
Wow.
Again, top lipped. So we'll plop him back. But yeah, that's what I wanted to demonstrate, was obviously how that float settles through the water. I just think that's to do with the shape of the float. Just cocks and follows your shot absolutely perfect through the water. So we'll go out actually to where I'm meaning to fish this time and see if I can get one out there. But yeah, it's just a good pattern for if you're F1 shallow fishing and you're not fishing overshotted or a jigger and you're fishing conventionally. I think it's just the perfect sort of float for that sort of fishing. It's another one that sort of stood the test of time in your range and still probably as popular as it was when it first come out.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, ship out, slap it over, just follows that shot through the water. There you go, straight into a fish. Now that's not a roach, but it's another silverfish. Again, that's another thing to touch on actually as well. You know, we said it's an F1 shallow float. Don't think that you can't, you know, use it for a bit of eyed fishing or decent sized silverfish when you're fishing shallow as well. You know, they're just a good all round, nice little hide. Just a good all round shallow float for fishing sort of between 1 foot and 2 foot deep. Beautiful fish again from Kingfisher Lake, popping back. Yeah, I think that sort of just rounds up that float really.
Not much more to be said really, is there?
No, it's a nice simple float in it. One that maybe, you know, going a little bit out of fashion in terms of this style of fishing because of all the overshotted and stuff, but there's a lot of venues that still ban it and you have to fish conventionally, and I think they're the best float for conventional shallow fishing, aren't they?
Yeah, that and the Slim Shalla are probably
the
two most popular.
Yeah, spot on. So check them out if you're after some floats for fishing shallow for F1s. You're absolutely perfect.